NVIDIA's stock took a hit despite strong earnings, as investors are not buying whatever NVIDIA is trying to sell. China's DeepSeek proves AI breakthroughs don't always mean more capital investment. Freedom by Design will bring you our analysis.
Today's shockwave, NVIDIA stock dropped 8.5% despite solid earnings. Why? DeepSeek spent under 10% of the expected 100 mm plus to develop their model. If more companies follow suit, NVIDIA's chip demand could weaken. What does this mean for global AI? Our AI by Design segment will unlock these answers in under 10 minutes, potentially worth millions with the right framework. How is DeepSeek achieving results so efficiently? Will computational efficiency means AI dominance? How should different regions with lesser technology infrastructure adapt? Join host Sam Adams and Dr. Ibrahim Abdallah, our science editor-at-large, for an unfiltered look at DeepSeek's rise and the future of global AI competition. Let's dive in.
Seriously, what's remarkable about DeepSeek is the cost differential. They've reportedly developed this reasoning model for $5.6 million, while similar models here cost upwards of $90 million. How is that possible?
Doc, the $5.6 million figure requires clarification. That represents direct training costs, not comprehensive R&D investment. It's comparing apples to orchards. However, the efficiency is still noteworthy. DeepSeek achieved this through several computational shortcuts most Western developers overlooked.
Shortcuts? That sounds concerning.
Not shortcuts in quality, but in approach. During my time at British Oil, we developed similar efficiency techniques for petroleum mathematics. When analyzing complex geological formations, we discovered pattern compression algorithms that reduced computational requirements by 67%. DeepSeek appears to have applied parallel innovations to neural network training.
That aligns with what I saw during my reporting days in China. The golden era of economic reform fostered an environment where constraints fueled creativity. They didn't just throw more hardware at problems, they refined the math. So they're working smarter, not harder?
Precisely. There's also another factor rarely discussed in Western media. Chinese developers optimize for constraints we don't face. When I was developing predictive models for Middle Eastern resource allocation, we found that necessity breeds remarkable innovation. DeepSeek operates with less access to advanced chips due to sanctions, forcing mathematical creativity.
That reminds me of the Maximus approach you once mentioned, the idea that elegance beats brute force every time.
Exactly. And this is where cultural context matters. China's approach reflects a long-standing philosophy, maximizing outcomes with minimal input, a kind of digital Wu Wei. They're not cutting corners, they're finding the most elegant path forward. When resources are constrained, you focus on mathematical elegance rather than sheer computational muscle. DeepSeek embodies that principle.
Explain the implications for the average listener. Does this mean China wins the AI race?
Not necessarily. This is merely one battle in a prolonged campaign. The more significant aspect is what it reveals about the global competitive landscape. India provides an instructive comparison.
Why India specifically?
India possesses comparable technical talent pools to both China and the United States, but lacks structural integration. According to Stanford's research, India produces approximately 15% of global AI talent, yet struggles to retain them.
In English, please. Not all of us have dual PhDs.
Simply put, lasting innovation requires three components functioning as one system: research institutions developing foundational theory, government providing strategic direction and infrastructure, and private enterprise commercializing applications. China has achieved this integration, evidenced by DeepSeek. The United States has a different but equally effective model. India hasn't fully connected these elements.
That's something I saw up close. I spent years covering China's economic reform. Their state-led capitalism isn't just about control, it's about coordination. Government sets the vision, industry executes, and universities provide the talent pipeline. It's like a well-oiled machine, with each part reinforcing the other. India, for all its brilliance, has more of a free market patchwork. Talent flows outward because the system doesn't self-sustain.
Precisely. It's not about talent, India has plenty, but about coherence.
What about language dominance? English has been the programming language of choice for decades. Does DeepSeek change that equation?
Doctor, this touches on something profoundly important. DeepSeek demonstrates superior handling of Chinese linguistic context compared to Western models, much as ChatGPT excels in English contexts. This reveals an underlying truth about AI development. Linguistic and cultural embeddedness matters tremendously.
That raises an important question about linguistic inequality. If AI development depends on the volume of available digital content, what does this mean for countries whose languages are less represented online?
The data suggests a more nuanced reality. While content volume creates initial advantages, techniques like cross-lingual transfer learning and synthetic data generation are reducing these disparities.
I'd go further. When I was in China, I saw how deeply language shapes thought. Mandarin's structure, context-heavy, implicit, forces a different cognitive approach compared to English's linear clarity. DeepSeek's strength isn't just technical, it's cultural. Their AI thinks more like a native Chinese speaker because it's trained within that cognitive framework.
Dr. A. Rather than fully separate ecosystems, I anticipate a hybridized landscape, core technologies with culturally specific implementations. The linguistic inequality is real, but not deterministic. Countries with less represented languages can leverage transfer learning from larger models while developing specialized capabilities reflecting their unique contexts.
Brings us to Europe and the Middle East. What should they do? They don't have the scale of talent or resources as the major players.
The Middle East faces particular challenges on foreign technology creates vulnerability. The prudent approach for subscale regions is threefold. First, strategic specialization. Identify specific domains where regional linguistic and cultural understanding provides competitive advantage. Second, differential partnership. Maintain balanced relationships with multiple technology providers rather than dependency on any single source. Third, talent cultivation through educational reform.
Beyond just the volume of training data, what specific approaches should these regions take? Are domain-specific models a viable alternative to competing in general-purpose AI?
The mathematics supports this approach. The data consistently showed that targeted excellence outperforms broad mediocrity. The United Arab Emirates demonstrates this principle through specialization in financial AI applications, leveraging their unique position in global markets. Domain-specific models require less linguistic data while delivering superior performance in targeted applications. Israel has successfully employed this strategy in cybersecurity and medical AI, where specialized knowledge outweighs linguistic volume. The critical factor is selecting domains where regional expertise provides natural advantages that compensate for linguistic limitations.
That brings us to a fundamental question about AI development globally. How do we ensure these systems operate within ethical frameworks when different cultures define ethics differently?
The regionalization of AI development will naturally lead to varying approaches to moral alignment. This isn't unique to AI. It follows the pattern we've seen with every major technology throughout history. Different cultures prioritize different values, which shapes how technologies are designed and deployed.
We hope you enjoy Sam and Dr. A deep dive into the global AI arms race. As technology integrates further into our lives, our perspective on digital authenticity and AI will change and evolve into a global perspective. So here's my authentic take. The real story here is a fundamental shift in the AI economics model, because DeepSeek really proved out that there isn't just one way to build an AI system, and that's also the same thing that we explored in our first segment of Freedom by Design. So what are the key takeaways for you guys? Number one, consolidation of foundation models. At the end of the day, you don't need an endless number of general purpose AI. And in terms of language, we have English, now Chinese, potentially a Spanish one. Otherwise, this is pretty much sufficient. Then the next battle will be in the specialty AI space. Number two, efficiency and adaptability are the new competitive edge. So the AI race is no longer just about who has the biggest compute budget. It's about who can adapt existing models to specific markets while maintaining trust. DeepSeek's approach showed that computational efficiency is as valuable as raw power. It's also one of the reasons why we object how the board is looking at its decision tree. And finally, authenticity as the game changer. In a world where AI systems shape decisions that affect billions, authenticity really does matter. We need to know that they are giving you the best advice. They would not have people-pleasing tendencies or overly people-pleasing tendencies, and that it's not just optimized for engagement or profit. It should really align with real human values. The winner in this AI race won't just be those with the best technology, but those who build AI that is transparent, that is learnable, explainable, and accountable for people who use it. So here's our conclusion. And we will continue to explore the topic of AI in different dimensions. And the AI landscape is evolving quickly. The companies that will thrive are those that deliver AI that's efficient, adaptable, but most importantly, authentic. This isn't just a shift in technology, but a shift in how we think about and engage with AI in our daily lives. I hope you enjoyed the show, and please follow us and share with your friend, because that's the only way we could get noticed.